is the Jeff Traylor Radio Show. The Jeff Traylor Radio Show, presented by UT Health San Antonio, the official healthcare partner of UTSA Athletics. By Chicken and Pickle. Good food, good friends, great fun. Yeah, also brought to you by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. And by Credit Human, the official credit union of the UTSA Roadrunners.
Here we go.
Now, with head coach Jeff Traylor, here's the voice.
Mike's hot.
Welcome to Chicken and Pickle, the Jeff Traylor Radio Show on this Wednesday night. UTSA getting ready for Memphis on Saturday, and welcome to the program. Time to visit with the head coach of the UTSA Roadrunners, Jeff Traylor. I know this has been a really difficult week after what happened Saturday in Tulsa, but this team usually bounces back pretty good. How have things been for the team in the last few days?
Well, they're fine. I mean, they've showed up. They've got great attitudes. They're working hard. You know, we lost a lot of kids Saturday in the game, and we're playing the second best team we played all year. So, I mean, we haven't had to bounce back against this. Now, thank God we're coming home, and our kids play better than they really are at home, and that'll be our chance.
What worked so well in the first half? And I know there was 2 possessions that came up with empty. You didn't get a score, but for the most part, you get five touchdowns in the first half. What did you like about the way the team was playing? What did they do so well in that first half?
Well, our quarterback was on fire, you know, and to be honest, Coach Berg did a fantastic job of putting us in some great situations. The screen call down in the red zone was fantastic. The change-up fly on number 4 was a fantastic call. The verticals to Dan, and we protected him well, and our defense was dominant, right? So the killer to me was when it was 2nd and 1, and maybe – you know, Owen wasn't perfect, but of all the throws he wished he had back, we ran the pop pass on 2nd and 1, and we were wide open. He just barely overthrew him. 3rd and 1, ran quarterback sneak, didn't get it. 4th and 1, we slipped it back out in the flat. We missed him. Those are the ones that just haunt you, right? We didn't score on the 1-yard line, but on that possession, we at least pinned them up and got the ball right back and scored because of us going for it down there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many plays in the game. When it was 35-7, and we missed the cut block on the backside, and the scoop and score gave them hope, right? Then our offense went right back down the field, made it 42-17. You're thinking, they're gone. We bust the coverage. We lose Ken on the play. They go 80 yards or 70 yards for a touchdown on the play. Now their crowd's in the game, their band's in the game, and we're not good enough as a team, which we've proven, and I'm the head coach. It's my responsibility. We're not good enough on the road to stop momentum when it gets away from us. And because you can't run the ball very well, and we don't defend the pass very well, to be very honest with you. And that's what's happened to us all year. And again, it's my responsibility to get all that fixed. And I don't blame everybody for being ticked. I mean, we got beat by our arch rival. We can't win on the road. We've come from behind and then blown leads. We've gotten ahead and blown leads. And the only good news is we're coming home. Other than that, I'm a party pooper tonight, Andy.
We'll work all that out. That kind of goes back. I think you said this earlier. Every play matters. Everything you do matters. At some point in the game, until there's zeros on the clock and you have more points than the other team, everything in the game matters.
If you don't put them away, the injury bug is so alive and well. And when your whole secondary gets out and you got a big lead, you know as a head coach right now, like, you got to hold on. And I'm not saying anything about those other kids that came in the game. There were just too many of them out there at the same dang time. You need Ken at least standing up to tell everybody where to line up, right? And when they all go down, and as a coach, you feel it. Like you see Zay go down. You see Denver with the game-winning interception. Say what you want to about it. Whatever. He didn't catch the ball for some reason, and he also hurt his toe on that play. And as a coach, you're like,
what else could go wrong?
Well, we are in trouble, boys. We are running out of people fastly. And when you travel on the road, you can only take so many guys.
Right.
You don't have your whole team there. It's not like you could pull the other 40 off the bench. You are down to that group that got on the plane with you. And I would have taken you at that point. Right? We were running out of people.
And I always talk about this. If you look at like Trevor Lawrence when he was at Clemson, or a hotshot running back as a freshman, and they're surrounded by juniors and seniors, they do well because the juniors and seniors are telling them what to do, and their talent just makes them great. But rarely do you see a team that's got 10 freshmen on it, or 10 freshmen and sophomores do well, and you just can't have that many young players on the field.
Those kids are going to be good players, too. But when you throw the combination of being on the road and momentum getting flipped, and you don't do enough to help them, it's just too much. I mean, and I know I'm making a soft bet for my players, but I'm just telling you what it's really like for those kids. And those kids are going to grow up and be fine one day, but it's too much. The veterans that were ready for that moment were all standing beside me over there, and we didn't get it done. And the penalty on Danye, hitting the quarterback late, that's such a tough call because when the quarterback drops and slides right in front of you and you're hitting him, it's like all year long, that just keeps happening. Now, the ones that we do that are self-inflicted, I get it, but it's unbelievable how it just keeps happening.
Yeah, you don't know that he's going to slide until you're already ready to make the tackle, and then all of a sudden he goes down, and you're already in the air going after the tackle.
And like, just how about when we sack them, fumble them, and the offensive tackle recovers the ball on the 2-yard line, and you think that's not a big play? Well, it was right against a 2-minute warning. If it's not against a 2-minute warning, there's another 25 seconds run off that clock. Instead, it's just unbelievable. Yeah. And again, you got to be good enough on the road. You got to be able to run the ball better and finish that game out. Offensively, we played almost perfect. Our 4-minute offense, we didn't execute. I'm madder than a hornet. I tried to run the ball on first down. I should have gone with a naked. I coached scared. I'm mad at myself. The 2-minute offense, we had the ball with 1:01. We've been moving the ball the whole game. We had one timeout left. We got a great field goal kicker with the wind at his back. We were literally 8 yards away from fixing to be able to kick a field goal to win the game.
Right.
And it didn't get done. And I'm just describing to you what really happened. I can't say it enough because somehow these things get like cut up, and it looks like I'm taking no responsibility every single time, and it's literally on the head coach. It's it's nobody's fault but mine, but that somehow doesn't make the cut-ups.
In the 4.5 years you've been here, I've never heard you take credit for a win, and I've always heard you take credit for a loss. And then Frank Harris echoed that, and now Owen's doing that. That's what the leaders of this team do, isn't it?
Well, if I had to be positive again, getting to watch that kid grow up right in front of our eyes, it's hard to break any record when you follow Frank Harris. And I know records aren't meant to be celebrated in losses, but when you go on the road and you break the school passing record and you're a sophomore and the whole team that he's playing with is almost not in the 2 deep when the season started, that's a pretty phenomenal deal. And I know you could criticize him at the end for missing a couple of throws there, but the kid is almost done by that point. Right. I mean, he's thrown the ball over 50 times. He's been hit numerous times. We've got to help that kid. And that's why I'm so excited for our future, because I know we got a real one in that kid.
Yeah, and he's going to be here for a few more years, and he's going to have players around him. And if he's already breaking Frank Harris's records, not that we'll ever forget about Frank Harris, but we're going to start remembering a lot about Owen McCown as well.
Well, Frank was superhuman. I mean, Owen's not superhuman. I mean, Frank had some stuff that is just
magic.
and he was unbelievably tough and loved this place. And that can never be overlooked enough. And Owen would be the first one to tell you he learned a ton from being in the room with Frank Harris.
Damon Wimberly had the scoop and score, another one of your young players. Talk about him and how he'll fit in not only now but in the future as well.
What's crazy, we meet as coordinators on the day before the game, and we always just show plays that might remind our kids to do things. And it just so happened that week we showed the play, and I won't name the kid or the school that did it, where he was going to score and he dropped the ball on about the 2-inch line and didn't get the touchdown. So I showed that to the team, and literally I remember thinking, because I coached our team up, I'm like, now look, if we have a goofball drop the ball on the 2-inch line, whoever's following behind him, you get on the ball. And so the whole time Damien's running, I'm watching the guys behind him like, I hope they remember in case this sucker drops this thing to get on it. But luckily he ran through it, and I was like, so goodness, we got a touchdown.
That's pretty awesome. But that shows you the depth of that defensive line and another up-and-coming young player.
Yeah, we've got some guys, and we're going to lose a ton. You're talking about losing Brandon Brown. Been here forever.
You talking Triplett?
No, Tripp's back.
Oh, he's back? Okay.
Thank goodness Tripp's back.
Yeah, we got him back.
We got him. We got Tyler, but we got some pieces back. But when you lose Brandon Brown and you lose Cyrus Simon, you lose Christian Clayton, you lose Joe Evans, That's some great players.
There's some legacy players at UTSA right there.
Donye Taylor, those guys have won us a lot of championships, and we've got a lot to replace there. But
Does Donye have another brother? Are there any more left?
He's got a son I've already offered, and Day does too. So we'll see him in 16 years.
Okay, sounds good. All right, we'll come back and visit with Elliot Davison this evening on the Jeff Traylor Show. It's brought to you by UT Health San Antonio. Every time the runners score a touchdown and make a 2-point conversion, it's an 8-point possession, and one lucky fan wins $888 thanks to Wainwright Injury Attorneys, the official injury attorneys of UTSA Athletics. We've had several lucky winners last season, so go to the promotions page on the UTSA app and register to win your $888. And fans, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance members get 2 free tickets to Roadrunners basketball, football, and baseball games when you redeem online. Become a Texas Farm Bureau Insurance member and visit goutsa.com/TFB tickets to learn more. It's the Jeff Traylor Radio Show on the UTSA Sports Network. 2024 Nissan Frontier pickup truck in the Ancira Putt for a Pickup contest. Go to GoUTSA.com/promotions to register today. Then you can become one of 3 finalists on the field at the Temple game to punt to win a brand new truck, courtesy of the Ancira family of dealerships and the All-American Car Wash. It's time for our USA Heroes segment. USAA honors the heroes who serve in our military as the official military appreciation sponsor of UTSA. Tonight, Elliot Davison joins us on one of the players on the gridiron, and we're getting to know them better during our USAA Heroes segment of the week each week. Welcome to the show. How are you tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Very well. How do you as a team continue to bounce back after these tough losses? And there was none tougher than the Tulsa team, but I heard Jeff talk Monday, and as we've talked already, you guys are a resilient bunch. You're ready to go again.
Yes, sir. We just do a good job of sticking together and just, remaining true to the culture and sticking to our foundation.
Where does that come from? And you've been here now a few years. Talk about how that got indoctrinated into you, taught to you, how you got educated, and your teammates brought you along as well.
Yes, sir. Well, the culture was already, established when I got here, and I just really just bought in. And once I bought in, it was easy to just go along with the guys and keep everything pushing forward.
Jeff, talk about Elliot and what he's meant to you. Transferred, I believe, a few years ago here, and is playing great safety for you.
Yeah, he's contributed way more to that culture than he's taken credit for. He's extremely intelligent. He's a high-character young man. Shows up, busts his tail every single day. He's a great leader, and I hated it for him because when Ken went down and Zay went down and Denver went down, he had to move to the other safety position, and he was orchestrating J5, who's going to be he's going to be fine. Mm-hmm. Davin, who's going to be fine, a young corner. Ty, who's going to be fine, a young corner, and he's having to move positions. So I felt bad. And they're all good players. I just know what that's like in that crowd with the band and how that's going for those kids in the back to be communicating, and all of a sudden Tulsa gets hot and they're throwing darts everywhere, and he's back there trying to orchestrate the best he can. They'll be better off this week than we were last week because we know what we're going to the game with. We know the calls. We know where he's going to be. We just don't need to lose the whole secondary again in a couple of moments.
Talk about those challenges when Ken went down, and now you got to be the quarterback of the defensive backfield.
Yes, sir. Just remain to keep that same communication going on, and we practice it, in practice every day, and you go out to the game and you just have to apply it in the game.
One of the things that you have is a really good front seven. The linebackers, the defensive line, deep and talented, and fortunately for now, somewhat injury-free.
Yes, sir.
How big of a deal is that for you as a defensive back, knowing I don't have to cover this guy forever because eventually somebody's going to get to the quarterback?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's very important to have a good front seven because it really starts, in the trenches in the front seven, with the line of scrimmage. So when the defensive line is moving that line of scrimmage back, it makes it way easier on the secondary.
And Jeff, you talked about the importance of getting pressure on the quarterback, and especially in the first half, and even a little bit in the second half last week. Tulsa was on the ground a lot because of your defensive line.
Yeah, I regret that. I'm the one that told Jess to pull back a little bit and let's help those guys out in the back, play a little bit more coverage, and we probably, hindsight being 2020, should have just kept coming after them. And I regret that decision. Obviously, when any of them don't work, you regret them, and that's one of them things as a coach you hate. And but yeah, our guys up front have been fantastic, and I think they tied the school record again for sacks and TFLs, and we just got to get home with a W.
Talk about the recruiting of Elliot when he decided to come to UTSA and what you noticed in him right away that made him somebody you wanted on this team.
Well, he played for my brother in high school, so I've known him for a long time. My brother's been saying we should have taken him, from the very get-go, and he went to UIW. And then when he got in the transfer portal, we were all in on trying to get him in here. We should have taken him 5 years ago. We're morons for not doing it.
Well, talk about
not that he would have come. He might not have come anyway, but we should have tried harder for sure.
So talk about playing for the brother, I guess for Kurt, right? And talk about playing for him and knowing the Traylor family before you came here.
Yeah, well, that definitely made the transition much easier, because like I said, I'd already been coached by his brother, so the same similarities that I got while I was at Tyler Legacy, were some of the same similarities that were here at UTSA. So like I said, it made the transition much easier.
Kurt's only told me I told you so about 100 times. So
Right.
we had to listen to him a lot.
You got a lot of injuries, obviously, in the defensive backfield, but talk about all the talent that's back there because of injuries, some of these younger guys are being forced to play, and now you're kind of the leader back there. You're teaching them what to do sometimes.
Yes, sir. Well, I just think it's so cool to see, younger guys step up, and maybe even people that you weren't expecting to step up and make these plays. They step up and make plays. So I'm just excited to see, new talent, and our players are able to show, what they're made of.
You still have an opportunity to get bowl eligible. You still have an opportunity to win at home. Talk about this Alamo Dome magic that it has. UTSA is the 6th best home team in the nation. You got tough games coming up, but what does it mean to be back home and to play these games coming up this weekend?
Well, it's always great being at home, having the support of San Antonio and just being in that dome, that environment. I love playing there. I do, honestly. You don't always get to play in a covered stadium every week, so that's a blessing.
Is it better there? I assume you like playing in climate controlled and heat and wind and rain and all that, no matter where you're on the road.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's definitely exciting to know you don't have to worry about it being freezing or being crazy hot.
Yeah,
and the mothers love it in recruiting,
right,
so
yeah.
that's for sure.
It's always a good thing.
And I would make that plea. Like we really need and I know our crowd's frustrated. I know our fans are frustrated. I totally understand it. But we need them to show up. I mean, we're playing a very, very good Memphis team on national TV Saturday, and we play really good at home. The reason we do is because our band is extremely loud in Sosa. Our fans are incredibly loud, and it gets our players going to a level that they play at a level they're really not capable of because of our home crowd.
Elliot, what are you doing in the classroom besides getting ready for hopefully a future football career?
I'm trying to get this degree in business management. I should be graduating here this fall, so I'm very excited about that. Very excited.
Does he have eligibility left? I haven't checked lately.
I wish. No, this is it. If they're in business at UTSA or cybersecurity, you're talking to some really, really smart dudes. So this dude is very smart.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on all of that. To finish out these next 4 games in style. Hopefully there's a postseason game as well. And
yes,
congrats to everything you've accomplished and to your future as well.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
All right.
Thanks,
That's
Elliot.
Elliot Davison, UTSA safety. And he'll be part of that defensive backfield this weekend when the Roadrunners take on the Memphis Tigers. Every 2 seconds in the United States, someone needs blood, and every time you donate blood, you're saving up to 3 lives. Visit southtexasblood.org to schedule your donation, because when you give, they live. And compare H-E-B prices to any store. They check and compare thousands of prices on the things you use to gear up for the game, so you can fill up your cart without emptying your wallet. When it comes to UTSA football, no store does more than your H-E-B, a proud supporter of UTSA athletics. It's the Jeff Traylor Radio Show on the UTSA Sports Network. minds are making lives better at WeMakeLivesBetter.org. And enjoy Bud Light while cheering on the runners. Bud Light is the official beer of UTSA Athletics. Birds up, buds up all season long. We're out here at Chicken and Pickle at UTSA Boulevard in Vance Jackson, and talking with Jeff Traylor. Only one player on the program this evening, and we'll continue our conversation with Jeff as we get ready for the game against Memphis this weekend. We were talking about all the young players that you had, and I remember Corey Mayfield when he was first here at UTSA, and because of injuries, very much like this year, he had to go out and play against UAB when they had their best team. And I think UAB won like 56-3 or something like that, and Corey just was lost. And it was so good to see him mature the next 2 or 3 years. He got an interception at Legion Field in the last game we played there. He got another one against them in the Alamo Dome. So that we know the talent's there, and it's just young players playing in that defensive backfield right now that are going to have to kind of learn on the fly.
Especially at that position. They're all good athletes, or you wouldn't recruit them. But getting out there on an island by yourself in college football is something you have to get out there and experience. I don't think I've ever coached a kid. I know I haven't here, that when they got here, they were ready to go play immediately at corner. I mean, we can all talk about, super freak right now, Tariq.
Right.
He was a wide receiver. He was a receiver when I got here.
Yeah.
And I think y'all played him at corner like one game the year before. And I looked up in our receiver room. We had 3 really good ones. They were young. And I brought him in. I said, what would you rather do? And he said, I'll do whatever y'all need me to do. And Nick and I moved him back to corner where he had played a little bit the year before. And he wasn't just real good. I mean, he was a big, tall kid, lanky, out there, and like a receiver playing. You keep getting better, But when you get thrown out there in the fire quickly, like Davin has, you see what they're made of very quickly, like Ty. And it'll be interesting to see how they respond, because both those kids gave up plays Saturday, but they were both in position to make the play. You got to have a short memory at that spot, and that's how you learn to do it. And you'll see them, to your point, Andy, you'll see them develop if you have the mental toughness to be able to not let one bad play turn into 2.
All right, you're wearing the shirt tonight, the new black shirt for UTSA. We got black uniforms this weekend. Excited about that?
It kills me because JT is the one that's always one of these black jerseys. Now, all of my players have.
Right.
But JT knows he can walk in my office whenever he wants to, and you're never going to tell JT no. And that smile JT has, you just know he could talk you into anything. And he designed them. He thought he'd be fully healthy by this game, and that he's not out there this weekend. It just kills me. But, yeah, these are designed by J.T. Clark, and we'll be repping them for J.T. Saturday.
That's awesome. All right, the Aggies wore black the other night, and I was looking on the message boards, and there's a mix. Yeah, I like them. No, I don't. And then there's a bunch of old guys that go, what's wrong with our regular colors? And I think you said something a few years ago. It's not about us old guys. It's about the players. If the players like it, we're going to do it. And it's something simple that they enjoy. And they may not know about the 100 years of tradition at a school like A&M or the 14 at UTSA. But if they want to wear black uniforms, we're going to figure out a way to make them have that.
Well, especially when you're a school like us that we've only been playing football 14 years. We're not stuck in 100 years of tradition. And I go back and think about Oregon when Phil Knight was trying to create Oregon to have their own little niche. And, his niche was we're going to have a different uniform combination every single week. And now Oregon is the number 1 team in the country.
Yeah.
And times have changed. You got to have some style to you. You got to have some things the kids look forward to. The season's long. It's monotonous. Practice is boring, let's be honest. These kids have some juice this week. They're excited about the black uniforms they're going to wear Saturday.
Right. What about an 11 a.m. game? We haven't had one of those except for the Army game a couple years ago. What do you think about playing early?
I've never had one at home. It'll be interesting to see what our tailgate's like. That early in the morning, I'm sure there'll be mimosas flowing and with some good breakfast tacos, and I hope they're good and juiced up by 11. I'm sure San Antonio knows how to throw a party. I bet they'll be ready to roll by 11.
Do you care what time you play? Is there an optimal time that's best for the players and their schedules and eating and all that kind of stuff, or you just deal with it whatever TV says you're playing?
Yeah, if you're undefeated, you don't give a rip, right? When you're struggling like we are, you want to play as soon as possible. You want to get up there and get to playing. So you don't want to sit around the hotel and think about it all daggum day. You want to get out there and get to playing ball. So I don't think it matters. I am concerned about our crowd. because we haven't played well this season on the road, and I know everybody's frustrated, but we have 3 home games in a row, and I still stand by. If we could have had our schedule flipped with our young team and could have got some confidence early in the year, I would like to see where we would be right now if we had to go on the road for 3 straight weeks. Unfortunately, we got all of our heavy lifting done, and we came home with nothing. And now we've got 3 home games in a row against a team that's, and the fan base is pretty discouraged right now.
We talked about the defensive line, and obviously they're really good, and we talked about the 4 seniors that will be gone after this year. But some young guys are getting some snaps. Ozawalo's in there, and a couple others. Damian Buxton was playing a lot. Talk about the future of that defensive line, another group of really young players that are getting a chance to play a little bit right now.
Yeah, we're going to have to revamp that front 7. There's no doubt about it. Now, we're losing 2 senior safeties as well. When you lose Ken, you lose Elliott, you lose Jamal Ligon, you lose Martavius, you lose your nose, you lose both 4 techniques, you lose your Will, you lose your Sam. That's a lot. So we've got to revamp that whole front 7. But the kids you mentioned, Ty Leonard is redshirting this year.
Right.
You mentioned Day-Day. You mentioned Big Baby. Those guys are all young. Tripp will be back. Those will be the leaders next year. At the Will linebacker, you're getting some great experience out there with Cam Cooper, Vic Shaw, James Wally. All those kids are getting. You got Pee Wee at the Sam. Marcellus is redshirting. We're ready.
Maybe Nana is able to come back.
Nana should be back. I mean, he's been hurt 2 years in a row, but he's healthy running around right now. He just can't play because his knee's not all the way back. But we'll have Nana back. We've got some pieces. We got to go revamp the defense and hold on to the offense, and we'll be good to go.
All right, coming up next, we'll scout the Memphis Tigers, and they are loaded with a whole bunch of talent. We'll talk about them coming up in just a bit. Good food, good friends, good fun. That's Chicken and Pickle, delicious food, cold drinks, yard games, and pickleball for all. Chicken and Pickle at UTSA Boulevard and Vance Jackson. And this season, Road Runner touchdowns mean more than 6 points. For every touchdown UTSA scores at home, the Texas Animal Defense League will receive $1,000 thanks to North Subaru. Last season, North Park Subaru donated $27,000 to the Texas Animal Defense League thanks to 27 UTSA touchdowns. It's North Park Subaru's TD for Charity. The Jeff Traylor Radio Show from Chicken and Pickle rolls on the UTSA Sports Network.
There's something about music that's just so easy.
free tickets to Roadrunners football, basketball, and baseball games when you redeem online. Become a Texas Farm Bureau Insurance member and visit goutsa.com/TFB tickets to learn more. And Goodwill of San Antonio takes your donations and turns them into careers, training, and education for those in need. They fuel the San Antonio economy. Now your Goodwill donation can get you free tickets to UTSA games. Bring your gently used clothing and household items to Goodwill today. All right, let's talk about Memphis. And you said this week, other than Texas, they've got a roster full of really great players, and about 16 or 17 that you guys have targeted as really top players for them.
Yeah, it's the highest we have other than Texas. I mean, they're absolutely loaded. And congrats to Ryan. He's done a great job of recruiting and developing those kids. It starts with their quarterback. I mean, he's right out of Texas. Denton Ryan, Seth Hennigan's been starting there forever. And his dad, Dave, is the head coach there, and he's the one that gets them going. And we've got 8 of those guys marked on offense as super players. And then you turn on defense, and we got 8 more marked. That's great players. So it's hard to win, period. But it's really hard to beat 16 great players that are well coached and winning.
What does Seth Hennigan do so well? What's his strengths? He's
a big kid. He's tall. He's 6'3". He weighs probably about 220. He moves better than you want him to, and he's very accurate, and he knows the offense. He's been around, for a long time. His completion percentage is right around 65%, 12 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. He just knows how to play football. And he was the quarterback when we beat him all those years ago, but he was a freshman.
Right.
And he's still playing all these years later.
It's amazing. That seems like forever ago, and it was only 3 seasons ago.
Yep, so that's crazy.
Yeah, all right. Talk about their receiving core and running backs. I know they've had a few injuries there, but they're getting some of those guys back. How do they run it, and how do they catch it?
Well, the tailback's fantastic. Number 2 is just an absolute dude out of South Carolina. He's a senior as well. Fantastic. We've got every receiver marked as great. I mean, we think they're all great. We think 10 is fantastic. We think 0 is fantastic. We think 3 is fantastic. We think their tight end 82 is fantastic. So, yeah, they've got a great roster, and there's a reason they're so good.
What about their defense? How do they line up there, and some of their top players there?
Yeah, the D-line. We've got 3 of those guys marked of the 4. They're fantastic. 2 linebackers are 11's as good as anybody in our conference for sure. 24 has been playing there. He's a senior as well. It's really amazing if you look at their boundary safety senior, field safety senior. The Will's a junior, Sam's a senior. I mean, it's just amazing how many seniors they have that have been playing for a while. He's done a great job keeping those guys. Usually when you're that talented and you're that young, they get taken. And Ryan has done a good job of keeping those kids.
They beat Florida State, but they lost to Navy. What do you see, or maybe some, not to give away the game plan, but where do you think you can attack them on offense? Where is our strength for UTSA?
Well, unless we can learn to run the triple option this week.
You're going to implement that tomorrow.
Yeah,
huh?
that's just hard to do in a week. It's hard to do in years, and Navy is really good at it. So you can always just throw the Army-Navy game out. It's just such an anomaly what you're going against. So there's nothing there other than Navy's really good.
Mm-hmm. And then against Florida State, that was kind of an upset. Now, Florida State's had a down year, but anytime you beat a P4 school, you're playing good football no matter what they're like.
But Florida State didn't know they were bad then, right? They've lost their mojo, right? That was early in the year,
right,
where they were still salty and getting after it. If you watch that game, you wouldn't want to play this team Saturday. I mean, they were the best team on the field that Saturday, and Florida State is loaded with talent.
All right, let's talk about our goodwill drive of the game from the Tulsa game. Was there one in that first half that you said that was better than the others? Execution? No, there was one drive that you took about 6 minutes off the clock. What would you look back on as some of the best drives of the game last week against Tulsa?
No, you're like Coach Burke. You love 6-minute drives. I hate them. I like the one-play drives. I like the one.
The 2-play drive to Chris, right?
I like the one where Chris went out there and changed it up in touchdown. Those are my favorite drives. There's always some that are more critical. I thought the one in the second half, which put us to 42.
Right.
The guts it showed of our offense, crowd rolling, band rolling. You're driving into the wind at that point. I thought that was the drive. If I had to bet money, which you can't do that in this anymore,
right?
That's the drive I would have said is going to win the game, and then we gave up the score immediately.
Yeah, that was a big play because they had just scored, and now you answer right back.
Huge.
You mentioned Chris Carpenter and Willie McCoy earlier carrying the receiver room with Devin out and the other injuries, and both of those guys made big plays against Tulsa.
David Amador hasn't played this season. He's one of our starting wide receivers. You're losing J.T. Clark. He's a guy who's going to get drafted. Those are just big losses. We lost D.J. Allen in the Rice game on the touchdown. I mean, those are just huge, huge losses. So for Chris and Willie just to hold that room down and allow Jamel Hardy to grow up, who's going to be fine. He's just young. And J.J. Sparkman had a good game Saturday as well. But those guys and Jace had a catch in the game. But, yeah, Chris and Willie have been playing the majority of those snaps.
What do they do? Is it just their experience and their leadership that sets them apart? They know what to do. They're comfortable with the calls. They're comfortable with the atmosphere?
It's just playing. They've been here a long time. They've been fortunate. They've stayed healthy. Willie's had to battle a knee all year, but he's been somewhat, healthy. He got dinged up in the East Carolina game on the great catch over the middle. But just being here, and I tease Coach Price all the time, and even he is on a scooter.
Yeah, he's been on a scooter all year.
So the whole room is just in there. Today, like our trainer told me today, we've got 12 players out for the entire season. 12. I think the average in the country is like 4.2 or 4.4. So for the to be 300% higher is alarming. We got to look into that. We're studying everything we can to see why that is, but that's just a lot to have 12 guys out for the year.
And 12 key guys, too, guys that would contribute for you.
All in the two deep. A lot of them in single digits. Some of them in the 2 and the 1 and the 0. Yeah. So, I mean, that's not good.
That's not good. All right, we'll come back with one more segment to wrap up the show. Save time after the game by ordering Taco Cabana online at tacocabana.com or on the MyTC loyalty app. Sign up for great rewards and exclusive offers only at Taco Cabana. It's the Jeff Traylor Radio Show on the UTSA Sports Network.
Clear.
out here at Chicken and Pickle. It's the Jeff Traylor Radio Show on behalf of UTSA Athletics and our military appreciation partner, USAA. We'd like to take a moment to thank all service members, veterans, and their families listening today for your service and sacrifice. USAA serving the military community and their families since 1922. And fans, thanks to BMW, one lucky fan will win the ultimate home game weekend at the Alamo Dome at our home finale versus Temple on November 22nd. One lucky fan will get a luxurious stay at the historic Maverick Hotel downtown, 2 premium game tickets, a BMW prize pack, and dinner as they cruise the city in a gorgeous new electric BMW X7 SUV. Be sure to check out goutsa.com/promotions to register today. It's the BMW Ultimate Home Game Weekend. UTSA basketball starts this week. Friday, the women play against St. Mary's. Neil Raphael will have that broadcast starting at 6 o'clock on KRPT 93.3 The Bull in San Antonio. And the debut of UTSA and Austin Klotch on Monday night will be on the air at 6:30 with the Credit Human pregame show before the Roadrunners take on Trinity. All right, before we finish up the football stuff, next week's also a big week because it's Election Day next week. I know JJ asked you about that earlier in the week. What do you do as a mentor and a coach to these young guys to talk about voting and the importance of the election next week?
We encourage them to vote. Obviously, we don't get into who we think should win or that. We try to discuss as many things as they want to talk about. But like today, something I got reminded of when I voted yesterday, you know, all of those people, like I didn't know who they were. So I didn't want to vote for the people I didn't know who they were. So my players today had the question like, how do we know who to vote for on all those things? And I said, you only had to vote for what you know.
Right.
And they were all shocked that that's all they had to do. And just those kind of things as players, make sure they know where to go, when to go, encourage them to go. And when I went yesterday, it's amazing how many students we have on campus voting. I had to wait, 30 minutes, and the line was moving efficiently. There was just a lot of people in there voting.
All right, the team is 3-5. You need 3 wins to get to a bowl game. Obviously, first games first is Memphis, but the goals are still there. You have a great home field record, and I know this team has got a lot of pride. I think those are some things, aren't they, that you can build on going into Memphis and the rest of the season?
Yeah, what's different is we're playing, like I've said, the second best team we played all year, or close. Texas State and them have pretty equal talent. But we're at home, and that's been a great equalizer for us through the years. How much will it be for us Saturday? That remains to be seen.
Memphis and South Florida are the leaders in this conference when it comes to NIL, and FedEx has been a big story in the Memphis area. And I was in South Florida last year for a basketball game and talking to their people, and they got the whole city, it seems like, behind their program. Talk about the challenges that UTSA faces as we have to battle with those teams going forward.
Yeah, I honestly feel like I've talked about it enough this week. Because we're playing Memphis, it's been brought up all week, and I probably need to just lay low a little bit tonight and not create any more talk about that subject, because I don't want it to be painted as that has had nothing to do with this season. That's totally on me. But if we're going to move forward in the future, we're going to have to get serious about this. And luckily, in July 2025, the pressure should be off the collectives totally. Right. The schools can opt in if they want to revenue share, and we're going to opt in to revenue share. So how that money will be raised, how much that money will be, that is still being planned and discussed, which is going on all over the country, not just here. But that's something that we'll have to get for the future of our program. That's going to be very important for us to be successful in the future.
You told me on the segment we did on the radio yesterday, you've never been 3-5 before, but when you come to practice on Sunday and Tuesday and today and tomorrow, and you have guys that are still there, still willing to learn, still buying into the culture, buying into the program, that's got to make your job a little bit easier, doesn't it?
Yeah, like today, a few of my former players have stopped by just to make sure I'm doing okay. And it's the first thing they said to me. They're like, I thought I'd see practice maybe drop down a little bit. He said, Coach, it looks just like we're winning still. And I said, that makes me feel good. I appreciate it. I really want so bad. My guys deserve some success. And They work so hard. They do the right thing. They're not perfect on the field. I get it. We got our issues out there. But they do the right thing so much. I just want them to get some success.
Let's talk about the tight end room for a second. And there you've had to go to those guys because, for the most part, they've been healthy. And one in particular is Patrick Overmeyer. When you recruited him, he was a quarterback in high school. Talk about converting him to a tight end. Yeah,
he came to camp, and we asked him, would he consider moving? And he told us he would. So that's what you got to do a lot here. You got to project. Because if he was already a tight end and already looking like that, some other school probably want him. Mm-hmm. So you got to project and develop, and that's one we hit on for sure.
As a quarterback, does that help him know routes better because he can kind of also be in the head of a quarterback at sometimes?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he understands the game at a deeper level because he's played quarterback, no doubt.
And then Houston Thomas, he was a wide receiver in high school and basically just had to learn the blocking technique at tight end.
That's what he was, just a little bit slow for a wide receiver, a little bit small for a tight end, so we just took him and developed him, and another one we hit on, big time hit.
And you flex him out as you do all the tight ends a lot. Talk about what's the strategy on those formations.
And Dan had a big game Saturday as well. Yeah. Dan had a big touchdown catch, blocked very well. Dan's really improved this year. So we've got 3 really good young tight ends to take over for a great tradition we have here with Leroy to Oscar to now these young guys.
I told you this the other day. You're 26-3 in the Alamo Dome. That's the 6th best home field advantage in the last 5 years. I know our fans are great. What is it about the Alamo Dome magic that you just you revel in when you get a chance to be in the game?
I really do think it's our crowd. I've said it before. There's a connection with our fan base and our players. In no way am I being derogatory, but the 20,000 be there Saturday, those are your real fans. Like, they're going to be there. Mm-hmm. Come hell or high water, they're going to be there. And when you're playing in conference championships and there's 45,000 to 48,000, we are very grateful those people show up. They came to watch a game, right? They're fans, but they're not like the 20,000. The reason they're called fans is short for fanatics. So our 20,000 fanatics will be there Saturday, and I think that's why we play so well.
And you need them to yell. You need them to yell as loud as they can every time Memphis has the ball.
Especially when they're down there in that student section. We need to be really hard to come out of there.
All right, let's talk about some keys to the game against the Tigers. Where does it start there?
Well, they're very balanced offensively. If you look at their roster, they've got 5 players with 23 catches or more. So you don't really have somewhere to just like key on a guy. They spread it out. So that's all Seth. He spreads the ball around. The tailback averages over 5 yards a carry as well. They're running the ball for 170-something yards a game, and they throw the ball well. They remind me a lot of what we used to be. We're struggling getting our running game off the ground this year, but normally that's the way we'd rather play football. So that's where it starts, is how do you stop all those weapons? For us, it's can we hold up? I mean, their D-line is fantastic. Their linebackers are fantastic. Their DBs. Can we protect Owen, and can we block enough to get some positive yards in the running game? And then special teams, the play that we made the other night, putting them on the 3 or 4 yard line, what a great play by Kel. Wish we'd have caught more punts Saturday, but the wind and the sun right in our eyes kind of hurt us. We got to get that ball called a little bit better, which Chris will do that this weekend.
All right, thanks so much. Good luck on Saturday, and we'll see if we can get another win in the Dome.
Thanks, Andy. God bless. Birds up.
All right, that's the Jeff Traylor Radio Show. Thanks to Michael Bartlett for producing tonight's show at the station. Dan Walters, our engineer, on site. UTSA football commences at 9 a.m. Saturday morning. We'll be on the air with the Credit Human pregame show and the kickoff just after 11 o'clock. Have a very good evening, everyone. It's the Jeff Traylor Radio Show on the UTSA Sports Network.